Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to day 5. I am so excited that you have made it this far in the journey. So, we have spent 5 days on a guided goal setting process. And I know for many of you, this has been very different than what you've traditionally done at the beginning of the year. I've challenged you, I've given you homework, I've made you think, hopefully. And hopefully, I've changed your mind on setting goals and resolutions at the new year. If you just happened on this video and you're like, wait a minute, this is day 1. She's talking about day 5. And who is this lady? I am Sara Mayer. I'm your host. You have landed in the middle of the New Year party, the Bold Goal Crusher New Year party, where we are going to set our goals and crush them. So you are not too late to the party. Actually, you can join the party at any time. Get in the comments and click the link. Anyway, you can still join. What we are doing is a 5-day goal setting challenge, if you will, where it's guided. You're learning different ways to set and crush your goals. There's a little bit of homework every day. When you join the party, you'll also get access to other presentations where these speakers have truly provided grab and go resources for the things that might be getting in the way of you accomplishing your goals. So you can take what you need from the wonderful speakers. And the speakers have also provided a swag bag. And in that swag bag, there are tools and resources where you can also grab some of their great things that they've put together. So definitely check that out. We also have some great live virtual events. So we have a vision board party. We do have a guided goal setting where you'll get some feedback on your goals and really be able to work out this process. I mentioned the vision board workshop. We have a goal planning session where you can actually get in and start to plan how you're going to achieve your goals. We have solution circles this month. Those are basically you come to us with your problem, and then we have people in the community that can help you solve that. So, solution circles are a great way to combat your goals. And then we have a couple of co working sessions where you can actually put on your calendar goal setting, goal working sessions and get to work on your goals so you crush them. So, if you are in the party and you haven't checked out those things, check those things out. If you're not in the party, get in the party. And you also have the opportunity to upgrade to VIP. So you get all that great stuff plus a VIP party, which is super cool. But you get upgraded resources. And we're talking about calls, coaching calls, workshops with the speakers, very in-depth, like different services and products that they offer. And the upgrade is only $47. Like, what? So definitely check that out as well. So where we have been, we started off at the beginning of the year, looking backwards, doing a nice little reflection. And when we did that reflection, I wanted you to really look for nuggets, like things that will, in your past, from a place of positivity, that will help you shape your future. What do you want your future to look like? Because so often we focus on the end of the year. So I hope you did that reflection. And then I really challenged you to dig deep and really think about what you wanted to achieve this year. Really come up with your goals. Don't worry this year and beyond through 20 years, I said, or more if you have more on the prospect. But I really wanted you to dream and not worry about putting them in SMART goals or anything like that. So hopefully you did that. Then we really broke down the different types of things that you can do for the new year. So we talked about goal setting, objective setting, resolutions, themes, words, and a vision board. And I encouraged you to decide, to really make those decisions. What are my goals going to be? Pick 3. What are my resolutions going to be? Pick 5. Those are basically what you're going to start and stop doing. So I love resolutions and they can work. They're very difficult. So I encourage you to pick those, pick 5, and then pick your word and pick your theme. Declare it. If you haven't declared it yet, download those sheets. I gave you some sheets where you can put your goals up, hang them on your wall. You can post them on social if you want as well. So download those and really declare them. You don't need to declare them publicly, but declare them to yourself at least. And put those on the wall. Put them somewhere so that you see them and get inspiration from your goals, your word, and your theme and your resolutions for the year. And then, so we talked all about deciding. And I think that was a very powerful, I've heard from many of you, a very powerful exercise. And so then the very next step was like, whoa, lots of detail. I broke down how I track my goals and what I do with my clients. And the reason I broke that down is because one of the reasons goals fail is they're not written down. That's the first reason. Like we have thousands of to-do lists for everything from do the laundry to pack your clothes for your family trip to everything. But many people do not have a goal tracker, a way to track their progress on their goals. And so their goals feel so far out. But if we don't continually make progress on them, they will continue to be further and further away from our grasp. So the number one reason that we don't crush our goals is we don't write them down. I alluded to number two. We don't track and incorporate them into our daily life. So we're going to spend some time today really talking about how to bring our goals to life. And we're also going to talk about the gap and the gain. So last time I asked you to really think about your objectives. What are the first couple steps? And I asked you to put them in a couple chunks. What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to become? And I hope you all did that. If you haven't, please jump back to video 4, take a look, or hit pause and take some time to do that. And one of the ways that you will incorporate your goals into your daily life is by planning and putting them on your calendar. And that's a weekly practice, pulling those goals out and putting them into a place where there's time where they are actually achieved. And so I hope that you have thought about that. But what happens to our goals is that life gets in the way and fires come up, things happen that seem more urgent and pressing. And so we end up dealing with those things. And you can put out fires all year long and not get closer to your goals. So I think what's really important at the beginning of your goal journey is to think about things that may get in the way. And just a little hint, it's not your 9 to 5. It may be, but it's not your 9 to 5. It's really this concept of self-management because we all have the same amount of time. We do not all have the same amount of priorities. So it's not all equal, but we do all have the same amount of time and you can't really manage time. The only thing you can manage are your priorities, like the things you put on your plate and yourself. So at the beginning of your goal journey, not to suck the wind out of your excitement, that's not what this exercise is for. This is about planning for how you are going to handle the things that you may know are going to come in your way from you achieving your goal. So, for example, my life has changed a little bit, but I used to say, if you wanted to ask me to do anything, ask me in July. Because in July, I was the least busy. And because in July, I was bored. And so I would say yes to things that were very big projects I totally could handle. And then come April or May, I was ready to pull my beautiful hair out because I had too much stuff on my plate because those things ended in April. But in July, when I was bored, I was a hell yes on that thing. And so I think it's really important to think about at the beginning of the year when you're looking at your goals, what are the things that are going to get in my way? Is it the beginning and end of school year for the kids? Is it the 5 family vacations you have planned? Is it your work is really busy at a certain time of year? Is it you just don't feel like motivationally working in the summer? That's you're on kick it mode. Whatever that is, those are things that will get in your way. Or could it be your child is a teenager and has a lot of drama? And I've been there too. So I want you to take out a piece of paper and just jot down things that might get in your way from achieving your goal. And I do have a little quiz. If you want to take my quiz, I'll pop it into the link as well. There's a quiz that kind of talks about what could get in your way as well. So definitely take the quiz and just jot down some of those things. What is going to get in your way of achieving your goal? Or what could be an obstacle? Okay. Now that you hopefully pause the video and have your list, I want you to look at that list and really look for a couple things. Are there things that are seasonal? Like, for example, my April and May is bananas. That's just how it is. And so I know when I'm looking at things or I have a goal that I'm not going to have a lot of progress in those months. And so I need to make more progress in other months. So really look at your list and say, are there things on here that are seasonal? And then we're going to talk about later how you would get over that season and get back into the rhythm, how you would plan for that season. So are you going to front load some of your tasks and then backload it? So how are you going to do that? If it's a family member, some of you may have a family member on there. I think one of the things that's really important is sharing our family in our dreams and having them understand why it's important and why you're making some of the sacrifices, but also to make those family dreams if possible. And so it may be easier said than done, but that may be one of the actions. Remember under connect, we had who do I need to connect with in order to bring my goal to life? And sometimes it's somebody to connect you to make a connection. And sometimes it's somebody to connect with to have them understand, to create an understanding. So think about when you're looking at your sheet, are anything seasonal? Are anything personal? Or somebody you need to connect and talk with? And are any of the things on your plate things that maybe you could offload, either by delegating, saying no, terming out so you're not taking that on for the next year, or teaching somebody else, giving somebody else an opportunity? And that's really what delegation is. It's giving someone else an opportunity. So for those of you who've been around my world for a while, like way back when in 2018 or something, 17 maybe, might have been earlier than that, I decided I didn't like saying no to people. I felt bad because they reached out to me, and sometimes it takes courage to ask for help. And so I didn't want to say no because I felt bad. And so I stopped saying no. Yep, I stopped saying no to things, but I didn't take those things on. I started saying when people would ask me, "Can you do this?" I started saying, "Did you know who would be really great at that?" And connecting them to somebody else, giving the opportunity to somebody else and really helping that person out to fulfill whatever need they were asking. So look at your list and ask yourself, are there any things that are seasonal? Are there any things that are personal, like I need to have a conversation? Are there any things on the list that I can offload either by delegating, getting help, or saying, I'm not going to participate in this activity anymore? I've done enough and I'm good. So really think about it that way. And then I want you to look at the list and find the things that maybe are habits that you could change. So, for example, you may have on there, I don't have time, or I'm stuck. I don't know where to move forward, or anything like that. So, I want you to really think about those things that you have a part in as well. And just make a note of it. And I think it's really important at this point for you to realize that these are all things that happen to everybody. Like you have a list and somebody else has a list and I have a list, and they're all very similar. There are things that stop us from moving forward. One of them may be money. One of it may be time. One of it may be you just don't even know where to start. And that's normal. And so what we need to do in order to really build this goal crushing muscle is we need to plan for how we're going to get over those things. How are we going to jump over that hump? Are we going to take things off our plate? Are we going to learn what we need to learn in order to do the thing? Are we going to figure out how we're going to make money? So we might have to make some sacrifices, take a little side job, maybe become a, I don't know, caterer, banquet server or something to get more money. And then your family's, but we never see you. Remember, we're going back to this goal. So I think there are things on there that will give you some hints in how to plan for getting over those goals or those obstacles. And that's what will keep you moving forward to your goals. So that list is the starting point of your plan. So how am I going to get over these when they come my way? I'm going to make sure that in the morning when it's quiet at my house, I'm working on my goals. And you just write a statement. That could be part of your resolutions. I'm going to make sure on Sunday morning that I really plan for my week. Now, it doesn't mean things aren't going to come up, but these are things that you can say to yourself after you come up with your potential obstacles that create the plan. All right. One more concept here. One of the things that happens in goal setting when you truly dream and you don't play it safe. Sometimes people play it safe with their goals. They're like, I did $10,000 in sales last year per average per month. So this year I'll put on my goals $10,005. Really? I've seen it. It's happened. It's true. So don't play it safe. But when you really dream and you really think about the things that you want in the future, I think it's inspiring, but it also can be daunting. You may think that goal is so far out. And so that's why you want to bring it into your daily life and do the plan. The other thing that happens is that sometimes your goal, most of the time, your goal, somebody else has achieved. There's very few things that you may be dreaming about that somebody else hasn't already done some version of that. Sorry to burst your bubble if you're like, wait, what? So, what happens sometimes is we compare our idea to somebody who's already made it. And so we're really comparing our chapter 1 to their chapter 20. And so this comparison-itis, which there's a great book on that if you're by Melissa Ambrosi, I think is her name. This comparison-itis goes on. And so because of that, what happens is we continually compare ourselves to standards that are very far out. So there's a book which we are going to read in February. This is the first time I'm saying that aloud. You heard this here. We're going to read a book called The Gap and the Gain. And one of the really cool things about this is that so many people don't measure their own progress. Let's say that again. So many people don't measure their own progress. They measure themselves to other people's progress. And in reality, we take so many steps forward each year, each month, each day. And if we measure ourselves against ourselves, our previous selves, we would see how many gains we made. So I've mentioned in goal setting, often there's a gap. Like, you want to be here? There's a gap. You're here. And so The Gap and the Gain is really a book that talks about how to measure yourself against your previous self. And I want to talk about this teacher. They tell the story more eloquently than I will in the book. So you got to check it out. And then come to book club in February. And they tell this story about this teacher who teaches special education. She obviously has some students who have some challenges that they're trying to work through. And she started journaling just really short blurbs about what they were working on. For example, she wrote down the child struggled walking in places with texture like carpet or grass. And the very next year, she went back and looked at the progress from it. And going back to, a lot of people are like, oh, we have to be able to measure our goals. Like, it's really easy to measure everything. Struggles with walking in grass and carpet? Yes. Year later, she looks, oh, this kid is running all over the grass now. Struggles with running on or walking on grass or carpet? No. Yay, that is measurable progress. So you can measure everything. It may be a yes or no, it may be whatever. But anyway, so she started keeping track of the student's progress, and she realized when she looked back, like she remembered how many months they spent on trying to get the child comfortable with walking and running on grass and carpet. And now that child, that's like nothing. That child made leaps and bounds, and they really jumped through this gap and made a gain. But because most of the time we're measuring ourselves and others to standards that are leaps and bounds from where they're at, like they're here and we want them to be way over here. But what if they go from here to here? That's a big gain. So the concept is really, now that you have your goals, now that you know where you want to go, you have your dreams, you have your objectives, you're going to bring it into life. There are going to be these obstacles that get in the way. You are going to struggle throughout the way. It's time to figure out where you're starting from. Where are you at today? And if we measure you in a month, where are you in a month? Where are you at 3 months from now? Where are you at a year? And how you do this is individual. So you have your objectives, you're working on your plan, you're checking those goal tasks off. So maybe your starting point is, I don't work on my goals every week. And then every week you put a little check mark on a spreadsheet or even get a habit tracker. Did I work on my goals this week? Yes. You are making gains. And that will give you the confidence to keep moving forward. So I encourage you, this is a little abstract concept, and it's individual for everybody. So for example, I've had a couple of clients who have created their goal trackers, which by the way, if you haven't picked those up, the Excel and the Asana template, or made one for yourself of how you're going to track your goals, please do. They have their goal trackers, but then they also have their gain and their gap trackers. And so it's individual for every person. I can't give you that blueprint because, well, I could probably give you a template, but you would have to come up with what you're measuring. But for example, I have a client who wants to write 6 blog posts a month. She's starting at 0. So the first month she didn't write 6. She didn't do it. She's beating herself up about it because she didn't do it. It's, yeah, but you wrote 2. 2's better than none. You've made progress. When you start to measure the gap and the gains, what happens is you will see the progress you're making. So those results that we talked about, think about putting that on a sheet that says, here's where I'm at, here's where I'm going. If you're trying to build a business and you're like, I need to build an email list. I'm at 0. This is where I'm going. The other things you can measure, like I have one client who's really, one of her goals is to improve her credit score. So on her gap and gain worksheet, she has her starting credit score and then where she's at. Some months she goes back down, and she has some metrics on there that she's measuring to figure out why. But she can see over time her gap and her gains, and her gap is getting smaller and smaller, and she's getting closer and closer to her results that she desires. So take some time right now and think about those results that you desire. Think about what you want to get out of your goals, what needle movers you could measure so that you are able to actually see your progress. Because so many times people say at the end of the year, I didn't make any progress on that goal. But they did, and they don't see it because they're not measuring the gap. They're not seeing that even slow progress is progress, or they're like trying to go from being somebody who doesn't write a single word to an author. And you have to start by writing. And so then you measure, how many times did I write? How many days a week am I writing? Did I get published? So there's so many things that you can measure. And that's what's really important when you're looking at your goals and yourself is that you have a way to look at where you started and where you're going. So sit down right now, think about where you started, where you're going, and what are the things you can track I like to do it monthly. Some people do it weekly. I have a client who does it weekly and then rolls it up to a month. I have a client who has a very sophisticated spreadsheet with graphs and charts and all this stuff. It does not need to be that hard. It could be a simple habit tracker. I want to drink more water, and you check off the boxes. And you look at the beginning, you're like, I didn't even drink water. Now I drink water almost every day or whatever it is. So think about what you can track. What are those metrics that will be needle movers on your goals? What are the metrics that will be needle movers on your goals that you can track? If one of your goals is to get off the couch and be more healthy, you can track that. All right. Now that you have your tracker, I hope you all have really come up with a system where you can feel happy and inspired about your goals. I hope you took some time to really come up with those goals, come up with your objectives, create your results, get your word and theme, and you have a way to make them come alive. The plan weekly and reflection on those goals is so critical to keep yourself inspired. And now you have a way to track your results and you have a system for really tracking those goals and results. So we have come to the end of this, but you're probably wondering, what about the vision? And I love a good vision board. I love it. But as I mentioned, I think it was in video 2 or 3, many times when people go to a vision board workshop, they pick up the magazine, they start flipping through, they're like, "Oh, those are cute purple sneakers. I might wanna get healthy this year," and they plop purple sneakers on the board. They'll see, like, an attractive person. "Oh, I'm single. I might wanna get a boyfriend this year. Let's focus on that." And you might wanna do that, and that's totally fine. You might see a beach and put a beach vacation. But when we start from inspiration that's random, we will end up with a vision board that maybe doesn't come to life, and at the end of the year, we're like, "I didn't even really want that in the first place." So if you are gonna do a vision board, which I love a vision board, either digital or with the magazines and the collage and everything, start with your goals that you already have from here, and once you start with your goals, then go find the images that represent those goals. So you wanna write a book? Go find a cool book cover. You wanna become a speaker? Go find somebody on stage. But start with the goals and then find the images, and you'll be successful. And that's what we're gonna do at the Vision Board Workshop. If you signed up for the party, you got an invite to that. Hopefully, we'll love to see you there. It's a great event. So sign up for that. And we are at the end of the journey. I will have one more video, like a closing celebration video. So just know if you like, oh no, I don't want to end, I will have one more video. But I want to thank you, first of all, for taking this journey. I know it's been a lot of homework and deep work and things you've had to think about. And I truly hope that you took the time you need to set good goals, good resolutions, a great inspiring theme and word, and to create a vision before you jumped on the bandwagon of declaring. And even if you did, you have permission to take a step back. So I hope when you look at your goals and the way you're going to track them and implement them, you are inspired, excited, and you have a plan for moving forward. And that's the most important part. All right, bold goal crushers. It is time to do the work for this session. If you didn't hit pause, it's time to get those things done. Come up with the things that might get in your way and how you're going to get past that. And then come up with how you're going to track your results and what you are actually going to track so you can measure your success. Have a great day. Can't wait to see you in the final wrap up video as we bring this to a close.